Oh, it might have turned 6:04.
I know it turned 6:04.
Right.
It's it was not your fault. It was not my fault. It was the sail barge's fault.
It
We're
was.
gonna blame the sail barge
Yes.
because it's gotten big enough that it was stealing the focus from the camera. It wouldn't focus on our faces.
Yeah. So, okay, at any point during the stream, if we are not in focus, just let me know because might have to get kind of creative.
I think
Keeping
what
it
just
up
the
here.
autofocus was turned off for some reason.
Always technical difficulties
Gotta
here
gotta have it.
at the Damon household.
We were also testing out some new microphones earlier. We were filming our bonus Q&A for Patreon, and we got some new microphones for Celebration, and they were messing up. But we
Hmm.
solved that too. New toys, new problems.
Brian Kenment says, never a dull Lego moment. You are correct. But how's everybody doing this week? We got John DeLong, all of our channel members in here, Brad Scanlon, Gio Flores, Andy Fang, Scotty Heron. Hello, hello.
I think Hilo just brought us something.
I'm
Yep,
sure it's
he
gonna.
brought his rope
I'm
this
sure.
time.
Oh, okay. Well, at least that's not noisy.
Yeah, he just like he doesn't like sit and play with his toys unless we're streaming. And he doesn't do it when we're like filming the Q&A. He just sits there quietly. But when we're streaming, he's like, I guess I'll get a toy.
He needs like a security blanket.
Well, today I think we're building the upper deck and the gun that Leia
Oh,
uses to blow the thing up.
that's fun. We just have a couple more bags, right?
We have 8 total bags. We're going to try to do 4 this week, 4 next week, and then we'll have finished it right before we head off to Tokyo.
I can't. I keep forgetting to put that other lens on the Lego camera, the spotlight camera, because it's like the same shot with that other lens on there. But it's fine. Already got some super chats coming in. Oh, hey, Miss Gina. Miss Gina asked, "What panels did we get for Celebration?" Which I figured would come up. So
We got luckier than most, but not
yeah,
as lucky as some.
it was. I mean, every time we do this, there's something to complain about. There's not really a perfect way to do that system, but it really does suck for some people who are in the waiting line the entire time, like doing everything right, and then you get to the page and like everything is sold out already. But yeah, we got kind of
I
lucky.
feel like there has to be some sort of system where everyone could put in like their number one, two, three, like panels that they
Oh yeah,
want.
like preferences.
Yeah, and then still it would be kind of random, but you could find a way where it's like, okay, everyone gets something instead of some people getting all 3 at the celebration stage and some people getting absolutely nothing.
Right.
Like that just, I mean, uh,
I mean, I think they should limit it to one celebration stage per
maybe
person.
that's the way to go.
Like you have to pick one panel that you can see live at the big stage because then that would leave spots open for everyone to go in there at least once maybe.
Right. It's like if you're going especially across the world to
Right.
see celebration, like if we got nothing, I'd be bummed, but we're also gonna spend time in Japan and that'll be great. But if people are going just for celebration, it's like, come on, like get, especially if it would be less of an issue if they streamed everything to the Star Wars show stage, which I know they did that in 2019, but I feel like they just stopped doing that afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, at the worst case scenario, you should still be able to see all the panels
Right.
at the convention.
So
So,
which panels did you get? Because
so
so like we had to split up the tickets and like you had to be registered
and that's also dumb that you can't
separately.
like There's
Oh
no
yeah,
way to.
you can't group the tickets, so if you're a family, good luck like getting into the same panels, I guess, as your although I did ask about
You
kids.
can put in that I have kids with me, so there's
Mm.
that. That's good at least. But I got a Galaxy stage for Mando and Grogu, and I got Celebration stage for Andor and Visions.
And I got all the Mando Grogu stuff was sold out by the time I got in. So I got Andor on the Galaxy stage and then Visions on the Twin Suns, I think. Or maybe vice versa. All I got were the streaming stages though. So I think we did okay. We like you said, we did better than some, but it is kind of just like an unfortunate
One of our friends got all three celebration stage. One of our friends got nothing,
nothing.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna mug our friend that got all three celebration stage.
Right.
Watch out, Goose.
Yeah. A lot of people agree that it's kind of a shitty way of doing things, but I don't know. I don't really know what would make it better.
I guess I mean like we've been kind of sour on Reed Pop since the 2017 debacle.
Right.
That I kind of get the sense that they just do the bare minimum of like I'm sure it would be a lot harder to make the whole thing more equitable, but I think you'd have more happy customers if you did instead of just be like, good luck, you have to play the Hunger Games for passes, hotels, and for all of the panels.
Right. And the passes too, like so many people are having trouble selling their passes because they don't have like an official sellback program like they did last time.
But if you are going to Celebration and if you didn't get any of the big panels, uh, I would say don't worry about it too much. You're still going to have a great time. My favorite part about Celebration, I don't think it has ever been the panels. There have definitely been some like oh my god moments, but I think most of them like the Bad Batch season 2 trailer uh
Oh yeah.
which was not one of the main Celebration stage panels, that got one of my biggest like oh my god like I was just screaming because Gunji was back. uh so go to some of the smaller panels. You're still gonna have a great time. But yeah, it is still annoying the way that this is all handled.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like which which thing happened at what panel that like really sticks out in my mind, and honestly the only one that I think I would have been sad to have missed was the like live orchestra with John Williams and Harrison Ford on
Which
stage.
we did miss that in 2017.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, they had
20.
done it before,
Uh-huh.
and then so we did get to see that when they did it in
Anaheim.
Anaheim.
Yeah, 2019.
The
No, wait.
yeah,
No, 2020.
2022.
I always get 19 and 22 mixed up.
So yeah, 2022. That was like the big showcase stage.
You also got to see Grogu in person. I mean, you were far
I
away,
was very far
but
away.
it was enough. It was enough to make you cry.
He was. I mean, you with the big screens, like you kind of feel like you can see everything no matter where you're sitting, which is nice. But he came out and I was so excited.
Yeah.
I cried a little.
But I always try to like remind everyone the big panels are fun, but I don't think they're the best part of the weekend. So
Right. And honestly, I'm like, what? I'm trying to think of like what they could show that they would not show anyone else. Like you have to be in the room to see this, and I'm only thinking like they'd have to stream the Visions episode. I think they
uh,
wouldn't show that to just the one room.
oh yeah, I think that that would go to like the Galaxy stage and the Twin Sun stage.
Right.
I think that'll go out. I could see maybe John Favreau saying like,
If they do a Mando teaser,
yeah.
that might be celebration stage only, which
Well, I
sucks.
like they showed footage at D23 and I don't think told people like don't record this because it got out. So I think they will probably show a teaser of some kind, and I think they're gonna release it publicly. That's just my guess.
Yeah. I
I
mean
know
it
it's early, but
it always leaks no matter what.
right.
Like they are very, very strict in the room with anyone having cameras out, phones out, but
It always happens.
there's always a leak. So you'll see it leaked on YouTube no matter what.
But that's why I'm like, I kind of think they're gonna just put out a teaser for Mando and Grogu. Um, I won't be surprised if Andor, if they hand out like passes to come back and watch the episodes later, which would be very cool. But it's gonna come out in a couple days anyway, so it's like not the
Yeah,
end of the world to miss that.
true.
But yeah, like it's always frustrating.
It's
Like panel reservation day
stressful, yeah.
is so stressful. And then like if you go through that stress and get nothing, it it's worse.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so if you didn't get it into like the big panel that you wanted to get into, make sure to go see what else is happening in that time slot. There's a bunch of really fun, interesting sounding panels going on.
That's also a great point. Like there are so many panels that are lining up with our friends' panels that we were like, oh, like I think Talking Bay 94 is during the Andor panel. Um, Daughters of Ferrix talking about the history of the galaxy far, far away is during Visions. Um, I forget what is Friday morning, but there's always something else cool going on.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. First super chat of the night comes from Bill Rooklyn, and Bill Rooklyn asks if the signal chats between Star Wars Explained and Force Center leaked, what fun slash goofy slash top secret stuff would we learn? You're all awesome. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I don't know what signal is,
It's the
but
thing that
I know what a
I
group
also
chat
don't know
is.
what Signal is.
Ew, Hilo farted and it smells awful. Gross. Sorry.
I was just gonna look at what.
Or was that you?
No, it wasn't me. Let's see. What we most recently talked about was how far
Karaoke.
behind I am on music.
Yeah.
We talked about Lady Gaga a little bit,
Talked about
and
needing to sing the new Lady Gaga album at karaoke.
and then you mentioned Ken's call with Scotty while he was at Costco.
That was a fun watch. That was on his most recent Blathering stream, I think.
So that's what our leaks would be about.
It's honestly like a lot of shop talk, a lot of stuff about Star Wars, and then the occasional rant about something random and not Star Wars related at all. I know specifically Ken and Alden keep asking for me to come on their Friday show, and I need to just like chisel out some time to do it because I'm always in the live chat, but I'm always working and editing.
That's if you ever want to do that, I'll take a couple segments and we can tag team the edit.
Oh yeah, and last time I texted Ken, I was telling him about the exclusive Lady Gaga track that's on the vinyl, and I was like, look it up on YouTube, it's great. So a lot of music talk.
I have been enjoying the Signal memes. I like the one of Luthen and Saw
Oh yeah.
where they're like, "Oh, it's the Death Star. They just accidentally texted me about it." But the Pippin with the Palantir is
I didn't see
funnier
that one.
to me. Like Sauron accidentally sent me his war plans.
uh, Star Wars Hour sent a super chat in and just said, "I'm Batman."
I'm Batman.
Oh, I
If you're gonna say it, at least say it like Batman.
give it a couple more days. I might have a
Your
really
throats.
gravelly sounding voice. I might
I'm Batman.
lose my voice. The pollen is like already horrendously bad here in the South, and sometimes the way it affects me is it just gives me an extremely sore throat, and it sucks. I would much rather have like a stuffy nose than a sore throat.
It hasn't been that bad for me this year. Knock on wood. I'm really hoping that I'm not like deathly allergic to cherry blossoms. That'd be a hell of a way to find out.
I mean, we have don't we have cherry blossoms in America somewhere? Or we have
Not in our neighborhood.
similar trees though. But like, yeah, the weather's really nice, so like I want to be outside to enjoy the nice weather, but it just is ruining my throat. Uh, Brad Scanlon, thanks for being a member of the 603rd. How do you interpret, quote, "There are heroes on both sides" from the Revenge of the Sith opening crawl?
That the Confederacy of Independent Systems was not evil. Like, every member of the Confederacy was not an evil person or a Sith Lord or General Grievous.
But were any of them heroes?
Yes. I don't think they did a great job of showing that, even in the Clone Wars. But, like, there is the episode. Is it called Heroes on Both Sides? I think that's the name of the episode, where Padme visits Mina Bonteri, and Ahsoka learns that, like, oh, not every separatist is just like an evil war criminal. Like, they did have genuine grievances. It's just that they were preyed upon by Sith lords and corporations, but there were good people in the Confederacy of Independent Systems.
And also, a lot of the people that were not so good thought that they were in fact heroes and that they were doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, Dooku is the classic example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nathan Troxel in chat said, in his mind, Dooku was doing the right thing.
But I think the books have done a better job of exploring that side of the Confederacy. I think it's easier, especially in the Clone Wars, which is like, I don't like calling it a kids show, but it was targeted at a younger audience, so I think it's a little easier to present lessons with, like, just these are the good guys and these are the bad guys.
Yeah. Gregular says there were villains on both sides too.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I mean,
but
that's the rest of that quote in the crawl.
yeah,
There are heroes on both sides. Evil is everywhere.
right.
Like, yeah.
But it's a little easier for kids to understand that there were good guys on both sides, I guess. Let's see. Joel Davis, do you find that a lot of Star Wars fans want all Star Wars stories to have the same tone with no variety in the types of stories we tell? Absolutely.
Especially online. I think it's more of an online thing, but every time something new and great comes out, everyone cries, like, give Favreau and Filoni everything. And then The Mandalorian season 3 comes out, or maybe it was Book of Boba Fett, but like at some point the fandom is just like, never mind, we don't like you anymore. Give everything to Tony Gilroy. And like, that hasn't faltered yet from like the diehard Andor fandom. And I love Andor, but I don't want all Star Wars to be Andor all the time. So yeah, I would much rather we continue to keep getting a variety of storytellers.
Yeah. I mean, the internet is very much a place for like extremes one side.
non-nuanced views.
Yeah, one side or the other. You either love it or you hate it. No one's going to Twitter to explain how mid they were on whatever show it was, if they were in fact just kind of like very content with it. People are only going online and typing away to go to one extreme or the other. So it's hard to tell when all the only place you're getting feedback from is the internet, because all you're seeing is either I hated it and here's why, or I loved it and here's why. And then that creates a very like unhealthy look.
Tribalism.
Well, it creates an unhealthy look at fandoms, because people are like, oh, Star Wars fans are the worst. Oh, Marvel fans are the worst. You know, but they're not. It's just like it seems that way because the internet, the whole way that algorithms work is it pushes you towards the extremes. Here's why this was amazing. Here's why this sucked. And you're not really going to see anything pushed in the algorithm that is middle of the road.
Man,
which is why our views don't look like some other people's views, and that's okay.
I was just looking at a Japanese channel, or like a channel about traveling in Japan, and I was like, oh, what are some fun things to do? And I sorted their videos by most popular, and so many of them, like not all of them, there were a lot of good ones, but I was surprised at how many were just like 12 things I hate about Japan. And I was like,
oh no,
why does this one have so many views? Or like the big problem with XYZ. And I was like, okay, never mind. But that all reminds me of a Dimitri Martin joke that was, I think it came out like as social media, as Facebook was starting to take off. So his joke was about graffiti, but I always think about it when he's like, you never see any like neutral graffiti. It's always like so and so sucks or this thing's the best. You never see graffiti that just says Toy Story 2 was okay.
Yeah, a lot of graffiti is just gang tags,
right,
and we don't know what it means. So I'm trying to think. There is a lot of kind of nice graffiti around Kirkwood.
Yeah.
And the Kirkwood Tunnel, but that's kind of like a famous place in Atlanta that people will go,
I think,
to make actual art.
Actual art is set aside from this joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of poems and stuff.
Yeah. He's talking about just like random spray paint of
right,
someone's opinions.
Yeah. Brian Kenmet said in the chat, I make it a point to share my thoughts, especially when they are, this is fine because it's important that people see that everything doesn't have to be amazing or terrible. LOL. And that's great. Like, I want to encourage people to do that more often. And it's like, it may not appear to get a lot of likes or like retweets or quote tweets, which I don't know, like, I know that that means something to people to get a lot of engagement, even if you're not making money off of it. But it doesn't mean people aren't still seeing it, and it's good for people to see that stuff.
Well, that's why I'm like baffled that this channel has become like, they love everything, and I'm like, no, we don't.
They're not watching our videos.
I know, but I'm just like, if you watch my review, 90% of them are like, it was pretty good. Like,
oh yeah, he gets on my nerves all the time by just thinking everything is okay, and I'm over here like either loving things or hating things, but not, you know, to an extreme point.
That's like, I think it's kind of rare that I really, really fall in love with something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just like spending time in the Star Wars universe. So
yeah, because like we would have a terrible time doing this for our full-time job if we hated everything, or I mean, I guess we wouldn't have a terrible time if we loved everything, but then it's kind of like, if you love everything, the next thing has to top that, you know, like it's always feeling like, how do I top this?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, dryer's done. But yeah, there's always going to be people out there that the algorithm is really going to push in your face constantly that want to make it seem like it's either you love it or hate it, and it's only the extremes that matter, and here's why. Uh, let's see. Scotty Heron, thanks for the next super chat. That's another who wins in a fight. Who wins in a fight? Two-parter. Oh, what is this word? Shio?
Shio bird.
What's that from?
Fallen Order. Big bird Cal rides from
Okay.
Kashyyyk down.
One Shio bird-sized Nyx, or 25 Nyx-sized Shio birds.
The giant Nyx.
Yeah. He's pretty agile.
Yeah.
But he can't fly.
Yeah, but like I think you need more than 25 tiny Shio birds.
Yeah.
I don't think it would take much. Like one swat and you can wipe out 5 little birds.
I think I agree. Robbie in the chat asked, what Lego set are we building? We're building Jabba's sail barge. And it's hard to see because it's so giant. And we can't like point it directly towards the camera or else it...
I think you get a better look at it at that angle anyway.
Yeah. It'll look more recognizable once we can put the sails up. And then the part 2 is one Zillo Beast sized Dagobah space iguana or 50 space iguana sized Zillo Beasts.
The giant thing. The giant thing is always going to win.
Well, what if the 50 space iguana sized Zillo Beasts find a way to eat energy and then they become big?
I guess they could. I guess they could get bigger. Also, they're like, they at least have a harder shell. But I still think when you're talking about this scale, this disparity in size, I think the big thing is going to win. Because that's a huge disparity. But yeah, if they're having their fight in an energy plant, and the Zillo Beast can keep growing.
It does kind of depend on how big of a Zillo Beast we're talking about.
I'm assuming full grown.
Yeah. MC Lego Boy says Zillo Beasts are unkillable, but they are not untrappable. And if they're space iguana sized, you can just set traps for them.
I don't think Zillo Beasts are unkillable. Difficult to kill, lightsaber resistant, but like I feel like if they were this big and a giant iguana just stepped on it, like you'd still get crushed.
Yeah. They might hurt to step on. Joel Davis has another one here. Fun fact, I came up with the Saw and Luthen meme for my company, Culture Slate, and friend Ben Hart made the meme for our company. I know those things. Yeah. That was a good one.
It was funny. I had a good laugh from that.
I've been making some memes.
You've really stepped up your meme game.
I've always had I think a decent meme game, but I've never
had a reason to make them.
I've never attempted to make and publish any. I don't know why I've been dragging my feet for this long.
I like the morning routine one. It was very good.
I liked that one too. I feel like as soon as the Marvel news took off today, though, like people stopped talking about the morning routine memes.
I did consider making a Garrick Hagon
the director's chair.
Like, oh my god.
as soon as I saw that, I was kind of like, I was like busy with something else, and I was like, I want to make something, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. So I just put out the Bothans one. I was like,
That one's
that'll
funny
do
too.
it.
Yeah, I mean, like people have been waiting for Bothans for forever, so I mean that has way more appeal to the mass Star Wars fan than mine would. But I do remember when uh Avengers Endgame posters were coming out, and it was like Avenge the Fallen, and it was showing like all the characters that got dusted in Avengers Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
and I made a Biggs one that said Avenge the Fallen.
I mean, anything meme wise that we can make for Biggs is very on brand for us. Speaking of being on brand, we got our celebration swag
Oh yeah,
stickers today.
yeah, they've been sitting on them, and I'm meaning to talk about them, but yeah,
And I don't want to build up any suspense for these because they are not exciting, cute, little artistic one of a kind stickers. They're kind of basic, but we did get the holographic print on these. If you can even see through the plastic in there. So that one's just the logo, but it's like holographic.
and then
We've got
of course
three
had to.
three versions.
Oh,
Can you,
there's so much glare.
that one is, well, bring the camera up to the main screen.
I gotta get my phone out.
Are we doing a meetup? We still have not figured out the meetup plans.
Well, I think we talked about Sunday. I think
Yeah.
that's the most likely day.
We're looking at Sunday, probably.
Whoops. That's not really.
What's going on there?
I switched, like all the cameras are shooting in 4K, and I think I had them all set up for 1080. Oops.
Well,
So just have to use that one.
I'll post some pictures of these after the stream is over. So that one's just the Biggs helmet, but also holographic. And then we have a super special one just for you guys for the 603rd. This one is not holographic. It just says in Arabesh 603, and it's got like the little Lego brick print.
Yeah, I don't think
on
you
them.
can. That's probably not coming through, but there's
We
little Lego dots.
Yeah, we could open them too.
It's not going to come through any better when it's that size.
But yeah, they pretty much, Sean Room, they look exactly like the little emojis that we made. And that's all we got. So like nothing
No, we have pins.
too exciting. Oh yeah, we have pins.
They're just not here yet.
But they're like kind of the same stuff, right?
The Biggs pin has the Japanese flag instead of the checkerboard, and then the
right.
other one is again kind of modeled after the Japanese flag, but it's basically just a red circle with the Star Wars Explained logo in it.
Yeah.
And that's everything we got, I think.
So I'm excited just because like we have a little variety this time. And we do still have leftover pens from before of like the Dark Reyes Bay pens. So maybe I'll pack some of those too. But yeah, we'll have lots of stickers to give out to everybody. And we'll figure out a time and a place for the meetup, I promise.
But yeah, Sunday, because it's just Vision's panel in the morning, and everything is a little more open. I don't think we're gonna have to. After we'll cover the Vision stuff, and then kind of have the rest of the day to walk the floor, do a meetup.
Yeah, so it'll be during the day probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be within walking distance of the convention center.
I'm not gonna make you like take a train ride or anything.
Laser Bolt asked, how many minifigs came with this set?
Oh,
that's a good question.
We're about to build another one. I forget, but it's a lot. Because it's like Max, Jabba, Salacious Crumb, Max, about to make a Nikto. I think there's a Weekway, Bib Fortuna,
Yeah, there's a lot of minifigs.
R2D2, C3PO,
Not just any R2D2,
Bar 2D2,
Bar 2D2. Yeah, Fanporian says 11 if you count Salacious Crumb.
which I do. He doesn't really move or anything, but
I would say it's worth it for Jabba and Max Rebo alone,
yeah.
though, because the Jabba one is huge. So that's kind of like a, a bonus. And anything Max Rebo is worth buying.
Can you hand me him, actually?
Which one?
The one that is a Lego.
You gotta specify. We
I
have
know,
a whole cubby of
I should
Max
have
Rebos.
specified, but I was just gonna put him in his little. I had him over there with the rest of the Maxes, but his red ball organ is in there. I should put him where he belongs.
I will say quickly, while we're on the topic of Lego sets, we were talking about this a little while ago. The new Shire set that came out, the Lord of the Rings Shire set, looks amazing. The cost is crazy to me.
It's a lot.
It's a pretty small set, and I realize it comes with a ton of minifigs also. But I'm like, $270 for that little set is wild.
I think it's a lot of small pieces, but yeah. I feel like every big set that comes out, people are like, that's so much. And then they do the math of how many pieces. And it's like, well, it's average for a Lego set, but still.
It's like just over 10,000 pieces. Which I don't know what that kind of equates to our other sets.
I don't either. I agree. I thought it was a lot.
I do, like, with all the stuff about, like, tariffs and just, like, all the mess going on in the world right now, I get why they're, like, cranking the prices up, but it just sucks. I have seen the rumors of the $1,000 Death Star set. I don't know.
Yeah.
About that one.
We'll see what it looks like.
I almost don't want $1,000 Death Star in my house. But
I get stressed out about the $800 Falcon and won't let you touch it.
Yeah. It's like, where would we put it? If it's a sphere, you'd have to build its own table and just like put it somewhere in a room. Jeb Whiskers, thanks for the next two super chats.
That's just a fun name.
Jeb Whiskers.
Jeb Whiskers.
Hey, don't know if y'all remember me, but I met y'all at the Deadpool and Wolverine pool party last July.
Oh cool.
Yeah. Just want to say hi again. Hope all is well. Also, I didn't know y'all were little monsters. Paws up. Gaga represent. Yay! Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. That was such a cool little event that I kind of felt weird going to. Like, I was really excited to get invited. Like, I had somehow gotten on a list to be invited to like some Disney related events / like little mini premiere, not like red carpet premieres, but like little early showings of like some stuff that Disney does. Anyways, when they sent me that, I was like, oh, this sounds fun. And it was. Dr. Puffington says, now that Outlaws has been out for a while, will you go back for Pirate's Fortune?
Yeah, I played the first DLC, the Sabbat game, and I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. There's still more I want to do in that game. I don't know. I haven't, without the story aspect of it, I haven't been as tempted to pick it back up. But to see Hondo and do a mission with him, I think that'd be fun.
When does that come out?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Outlaws won several awards at the most recent, I forget what it's called, some kind of gaming event. And I think it did really well at like all the gaming award places. I don't know how well it sold.
Not great.
Not great. It's unfortunate because it really is a great game and they put so much work into it. There is so much to do, so much to look at. Like the amount of detail in that game is wild. And like when we went to the first playtest event, I'm terrible at games, so I was kind of just like, I just want to walk around and get footage of everything I see. I was like looking for Easter eggs and talking to every NPC I could. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's a good game. Like it wasn't mind blowing. Like it didn't. I don't know. I think people expect every new game to be some wild new introduction technologically.
Mm.
So it didn't feel like crazy innovative, but it was still fun. I like the characters. Love Nyx. I like the Trailblazer.
It was fun to just have an open world concept game like that for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would have been curious if we could have also incorporated like Force users, Jedi, Sith, whatever. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything from the game, but I think I just prefer the like subject matter of the Star Wars Jedi games.
Sure. I mean, yeah, those are my preferred games as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my play style. I wasn't crazy about the combat of Outlaws because I just like the lightsaber fighting over a blaster.
Yeah, it's hard to beat fighting with a lightsaber. But speaking of video games, I am excited to see the new Indiana Jones game because
Yes.
it's coming out
Yes.
on PlayStation while we're in Japan.
I
So
need to pre-order it.
yeah, we can pre-order it, download it, and then when we get back, slash probably not till after Andor's over, play it.
Yeah, that'll be my post Andor treat.
Peter Schwartz says, "End of Andor." Andor looks at the camera and says, "What is this? Some kind of Star Wars?" That would be wild. Could you imagine if they did something just like really silly at the end
Tony
of
Gilroy's like, I'm gonna throw them all for a loop.
Yeah, he made it a point to say in like one of his Collider interviews, I think, that, we don't just throw any old cameo or Easter egg in here. We gotta like we make it count, and nothing is in here for just for a gag or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's a funny guy.
He seems fun. Like reading his interviews, I feel like he can come off as kind of stern and
I
a
think
little.
he's done a little bit better job of it for this go around for
Well,
season
that's.
2, but
I just haven't really seen him talk much, but watching that live stream, I was like, he seems fun. He seems more fun than I was giving him credit for.
yeah. Either that or he's at the point where he's done so much press for Andor season 2 that he's just kind of like gone crazy. Scotty Heron says Outlaws Sabak music lives rent free in my head.
Sabak is one of the best parts of Outrun or Outlaws. Uh, that Kessel Sabak variant is so like simple and so fun, so quick to play. I think they did a great job with that.
That is that why you like Balatro so much? Is it just like simple addictive card games?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you know that Balatro has an actual card deck?
I saw Kelly Knox tweet about it.
I would play that.
And she was like, just when I thought I was out.
I would give that a shot.
It's just a deck of cards. Like,
But
there's I don't think you
There's
can play the game
oh,
with it's just a deck of cards styled after.
there's not an actual game to it?
I don't think so. I
Oh.
mean, the jokers it comes with are from the game, but like you'd have to do so much math. You'd hate it.
Well, yeah, that I already hate it no matter what. Just because I don't get it.
You just got to start playing it, and then
I
once you get a
don't want
taste,
to.
once you get a taste of a good run, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm invincible."
I have somehow become the person who like just doesn't like to sit for long periods of time playing a video game. And that is not something that I chose. But I can sit and watch a documentary series for 6
Yeah, you'll
hours.
sit and watch TV forever.
It's true. Slow Snail Studios says it's nice to see Tony Gilroy go from I know nothing about Star Wars during Rogue One to being a fan. Yeah,
So talking about the Gorman massacre and
right.
like
I think he realized the ability to combine his like way of storytelling and his method of storytelling and writing with a universe like Star Wars. Like he was able to make all these connections that I don't think he realized he could have. And I bet just like working with the story group and figuring out how to tell this story was fun for him. To be like, I want to tell a story like this. And they would be, the story group would be like, we have the perfect characters for that. Do we know the authors that are going to Celebration? Mm,
Adam Christopher, Lydia King, is Charles still going?
I know they put it on the panel list, so let me
Yeah.
look it up. There's, I think there's a lot of authors going, but it was kind of a weird, like, mishmash of people where I was kind of like, oh, that's Friday at
Two?
2? Here we go. Adam Christopher, Tessa Gratton, Mark Guggenheim, Lydia
Nice.
Kang, Ethan Sachs, Phil Shostak, Alyssa Wong, and CB Cebulski.
That might be who's taking over for Afra, that last name. I can't remember who's doing the new
No.
Afra run.
So, well, CB Cebulski is editor in chief of Marvel Comics. So,
Oh, okay. But
maybe.
just to talk about. Gotcha.
So, that'll be a lot of comic stuff, I think, as well as books.
Well, I'm glad Alyssa's going because they're not doing Afra anymore. The High Republic's wrapping up, so I'm hopeful that means they're gonna. I just loved all their work on Afra, so I want Alyssa to get to do some more stuff. So yeah, handful of High Republic authors. Adam Christopher, that's interesting. I'm expecting maybe a new novel announcement since Shadow of the Sith has been out for quite a while.
Daryl Cooper in the chat said, I hope we get an Adam Christopher follow up to Shadow of the
Yeah,
Sith. Would they follow that up with another novel?
why not?
I don't know why not.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that exact, like a continuation of that specific story. Just let
Well, I
Adam.
guess that's what I'm asking. Like, would they follow it up at continuing what they said,
I
the
don't
story they told in Shadow
think
of the
so
Sith?
because they accomplished, I think, what they wanted with that. Um, but just another story set in that era could let Adam Christopher just kind of be the architect of
Mm.
what happens around that time period.
Also, a good point in chat. Chris Kimpshaw
Yep.
is also going to be there. I don't think for the main publishing panel, but I know Chris is going to be on Ellie's panel, the Daughters of Ferrix panel, and I think he's doing
And
another one.
Who's the Boss, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Chris Kimshaw doing the history of the galaxy far, far away is a. I would love to see that panel.
That sounds like such an intimidating subject to do a panel on. But maybe not with, Chris being there. He kind of wrote the book on it, so. Not read Rise and Fall. Is it good? It is good.
Oh, I love it.
I didn't read it. It's more like a textbook almost, but with stories kind of woven in.
Not really.
Well, stories about the in-universe characters.
I mean,
you learn new things about some of the characters, like what's his name from Rise of Skywalker?
Beaumont Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's the author of it, so it's like a textbook written by him.
But he kind of does he not add his own kind of like thoughts and takes on stuff?
Yeah,
within the story, so that's adding story.
I wouldn't say like go into it expecting to learn a whole lot of new stuff.
No, but it's not a reference book.
No. It's interesting. It's an in-universe history book.
Right.
But it isn't so much a storybook.
But yeah. I'll be interested to see what new book stuff they talk about, because we keep going back and forth, like, are they gonna talk about the next big publishing initiative? And we're kind of thinking maybe not, because High Republic isn't over yet, and it won't be over in April. So
I mean, like, I have my fingers crossed that they have, or that they're going to do another publishing initiative, but we don't know that they are, so.
Yeah. Pigpen says, hope they announce the Watto cookbook at Celebration. Would I make recipes out of the Watto cookbook?
I want a Gourmanda cookbook.
I want a Dex's Diner cookbook.
Competing cookbooks.
Imagine the smash burgers that Dex makes. I want to know how to make them. Ooh, a Skeleton Crew visual guide would be nice.
Yeah.
Ihaja said, happy year already. Time flies in the Fab 603rd. Utini. Thanks for being a member of the 603rd for 6 months.
Utini.
Utini. That's exactly how that sounds. I want a book by Mala telling us all the dirt about Chewie. That would be fun to read. I was flipping through the archives book, the like big giant archives book about the prequels today. And it had some cool concept art of when they were kind of like originally talking about Han Solo having been raised by Chewie on Kashyyyk. So that could have been a thing.
I'm really glad they didn't go that direction.
I am too. It's giving, I don't know, it's something that we've seen done before, and I'm glad to know that Han has like a completely separate story. And when he meets Chewie, like that's a great story. It is kind of Tarzan vibes, yeah. But there's a lot of interesting stuff like by George in those books. He like the way he talks about Vader is interesting, and like I think a lot of fans would be shocked to read some of the quotes from him from those books because he says a lot of stuff about how pathetic Vader is,
Oh yeah.
and he just really rips him apart. He's like, this is not, I mean, he's a monster. He's pathetic. Like this is the lowest of the low point that someone could be. And he talks about like, yeah, because he lost limbs, he wasn't as strong in the force as he could have been, and just like all this crazy stuff. Yeah, not a badass like some people would like to think that he is, which is okay to think. He is a cool villain, but I don't know. It's hard for some people to separate cool villain from badass, and that worries me.
It's gotta be that.
Elo Asti says, in Japan, Alex suddenly yells, I'm gonna punch that punk sumo wrestler. Don't hold me back. He stomps toward a 450-pound sumo man. Does Molly intervene? I'm not gonna be able to do much.
You can't stop me?
I would
I would hope you could.
I would verbally advise against punching a large sumo wrestler. Yes, I would absolutely do that.
I think you'd stop me. But why would I do that?
Put you in a chokehold.
Why on earth
this is
would
for
I
your
want
own
to punch
good.
a sumo man?
Yeah, Alex is not the punching
I'm a
type.
lover, not a fighter. If I had beef with a sumo man, I'd be like, let's take this to Mario Kart or something. Like,
Okay, so you would invite him to lose to something that you're great at.
yeah. We can do one sumo match and then one Mario Kart match, and we'll do.
Why don't you do the Mario Kart one first?
Yeah.
Because you may not be walking after the second one. It would be cool to see a sumo match.
I did look.
Might look into that.
Oh,
once,
I did.
Once we're
I
over
don't
there.
think that's gonna happen. There just aren't any around where we're gonna be.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I did look. And also, they're like very hard to get tickets to.
Peter Schwartz says, how does the drinking age work with all the different species? Like, does each bar have a manual list they have to review? So I don't know that there's a drinking age in Star Wars.
I know Poe gets a drink in free fall, and the bartender's like not thrilled about it, but he's like, all right, here, have some Jabba juice. It's like not strong, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it would have to be like if you're a bartender in Star Wars, you have to be pretty knowledgeable about most species. But maybe they have some kind of like facial recognition system where like the like facial recognition will tell them to the best of its knowledge, like, yeah, they look old enough for that species.
maybe it's kind of like the droid scanner
Yeah.
in the cantina when they walk in. It just beeps and it's like underage.
But honestly, I think most of the bartenders in Star Wars do not care. They're like, not my
Right.
problem. As long as you're not a droid.
Yeah, you think
come on in.
Wooker's like carding people? Luke was 19 and he's like, give me one of those. And he's like, ugh, here.
He's like, you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but can Grogu drink? Well, he can if he wants to, but then you're gonna have a drunk baby on your hands who can use the Force. And it's gonna be a lot of him stealing food from people and
Yeah. Can you imagine him when he has the munchies, like the actual munchies?
yeah. Well, we saw what happened when he got a little bit of power when he was in IG-12.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot of yes, no, grabbing food and eating it. That's gonna get that song stuck in my head again.
Which song?
The Baby Billy song.
Misbehaving.
Mama told me not to, but I didn't anyway. Misbehaving.
Amanda told me not to, but I didn't.
That is from a show called Righteous Gemstones, and if you've never seen it, I highly recommend giving it a watch. It is hilarious. But especially funny if you are familiar with like Deep South megachurch culture, which I'm not familiar with megachurch culture, but I know it exists and we live in the South. So.
I wouldn't even say I'm familiar with megachurch culture, but even if you're familiar with the Southern church culture, like, you'll get it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. This is fitting. So, Scotty Heron, thank you for another super chat. In the recent Pot of Rebellion episode, Vanessa Marshall said Orn Freytag was originally going to be Hera's dad. How do you think that'll change? How do you think that would change Rebels? I made that post.
Yeah. I did think that that was interesting because I think that adds another like level of rebellion to Hera if her father was like the corrupt senator of her world and she is rebelling against that. But I'm glad it was Cham. Hera Syndulla just sounds way better than Hera Freytag.
Yeah, and I think it works better on so many levels to be able to show who Cham Syndulla is, and over time we kind of learn where he's coming from and like his side of the story, and I think that adds more depth to Hera as a character rather than just having her be some rebellious kid of a corrupt senator.
The fact that they're both rebels, but Cham is like, they don't have a great relationship. Yeah.
And then something fun from posting that was Henry Gilroy commented on it, who said, I named Cham because it sounded like charm. I wrote Cham as a charismatic rebel leader who we think is an extremist, but we learn he knows about the corruption in the Republic that the Jedi don't. His last name was Syndulla because Sin hinted at his personal motivations that defy authority. And I was like, hi, Henry. Hello.
So I didn't anticipate this, but we were supposed to do bags 32 and 33 together. So that might be a little more than we want to. What do you think?
Up to you.
No, up to you.
Oh, well, just like 2 more bags?
Yeah.
Why don't we save it for next week?
We'll just do 5 bags next week. I'm not going to open another bag and then get you hangry at me.
Right. That's not good for anyone.
When you're like up to you, I'm like, that's bait.
Well, I didn't see what time it is. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do like a big finale episode next week.
We are going to finish this next week.
No matter what.
We'll do 5 bags. Those bags do not look big at all. So yeah. I think 32 and 33, and then there's 3 more bags, but they're all... They go to... Oh, that's bag 33, so it's not a huge bag, but... Yeah. We can finish this next week.
Okay. Molly has to eat before live streams. That solves the problem. Well, that's too early.
That's too early.
If I eat before the live stream, I'll get hungry again by 8 o'clock. And
either way,
then you have another problem.
She's going to be hangry.
On your hands.
That's her secret, Cap.
I'm always hangry. But also...
I didn't even realize how well that worked.
I'm always hangry.
Yeah, because...
All right, we can finish up these super chats and then head on out. Um, Eloasti asked, if every other species lives much longer, how are humans the dominant species? Shouldn't humans be struggling against much richer aliens?
It's kind of
It,
the same way tribbles overtake Star Trek.
uh-huh.
They may not live as long, but they reproduce fast. So they're just spreading like a disease and
Yeah.
they take over.
I mean, real answer is that in a perfect world, yes, we could show more from the alien species of Star Wars, but really, unless you're talking about animation, alien species characters just cost a lot more to make and are a lot harder to incorporate. So yeah, we have a lot more humans
Yeah.
in Star Wars
That's the
than we
boring
should.
answer, yeah.
The boring answer. But yeah, I like your answer better. The humans are just procreating at a rapid speed where the alien species are like, we have an infestation.
Yeah.
What
And
do we do?
I do think that humanity in real life, and they kind of set up in I think this was like legend stuff, but that humans and Duros, they were some of the first explorers, and they were just like, let's go, and they just spread out a lot faster and
Yeah.
more enthusiastically than other species did.
Uh, Dutch Alfred asks, what would happen if a nameless met a Salamiri?
Hmm, that's fun.
They would be best
I mean,
friends. I don't know.
so I don't think much would happen because the nameless are kind of like the Vornskers
The what?
from Heir to the Empire. The Salamiri developed their ability to like negate the Force because the main predator of that planet is the Vornsker, and they hunt using the Force. So the Salamiri are like, well, we're just not gonna, we're
Hmm.
just gonna shield ourselves. So I think the Nameless would have zero interest in a Salamiri because they just want to
Yeah.
feed on the Force. So it is kind of similar to a Vornsker.
But isn't the Force in everything?
That's why Salamiri are no longer canon.
Right.
Because
But I'm talking about like the for the nameless, like they specifically target Jedi.
they're so strong in the Force, yeah.
So like they just really have beefed up their force sensitivity.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the Nameless can feed on the Force wherever they find it, but yeah, Jedi are more attractive. So, but yeah, I don't really think a Salamiri would have like an effect on the Nameless,
Yeah, like
and
I
vice
think
versa.
if nameless were out in a space where no Jedi existed, I think they could survive, but they might just starve.
I think we're gonna find out, like, this is still a mystery, but I think that on Planet X they thrive. Like, they were described in Tears of the Nameless in the flashbacks.
That was such a
Yeah,
cool saying that the flashbacks in that book were rad.
yeah, like those visions on Planet X, they're not horrifying to look at. They are gentle creatures because I think Planet X is so strong in the Force that they're just always nourished.
Planet X is where they came from.
Which I
Yeah.
still am hoping they give it a better name, but in the meantime, it's called Planet X.
Yeah. Um. Ooh. Alex the Hiker says, "Who would you choose to play against Thrawn in a game of chess? No force powers."
Mhm.
Oh, I maybe Yoda, just because I think he would drive Thrawn crazy.
Um, for a serious answer, I will say Palpatine, just because of like the long game, the machinations. I think Thrawn is the better like military strategist, but Palpatine might be able to just play the longest game of chess.
Right. Well, yeah, now I'm thinking like which one would Thrawn rather play? Probably Palpatine because he would love a chance to beat him at such a simple, quote unquote, simple game. But I'm also like, Thrawn, I don't know if Thrawn knows who Yoda is, but I think Thrawn would be really curious to just sit down and chat with a 900-year-old species that he
I
like has never seen before.
I agree that I think Thrawn would be happy to play with either of them just to learn. Like win or lose, I think he would like to learn more about his opponents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of like a goofy answer. Like Jar Jar. Let's have him play against Jar Jar, and I weirdly think that he would be doing just the most off the wall stuff that Thrawn would be like, how do I even counter this? This isn't how you play chess.
Jar Jar would bring his own board and be like, "These are the Gungan chess."
Yeah.
Like he would be like, "I know these rules and you don't," and he would be like, "Let's play."
He'd keep knocking all the pieces off, putting them back in the wrong position.
That would be funny. Uh, the next two are also from Alex the Hiker. With shows like Andor and in part The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, do you see more future shows with less focus on the Force and Force users? Definitely. I think it's now that Disney knows it's possible to have a ridiculously successful show that has no Force users in it. They should be considering doing more of that, but
Yeah,
whether or not they will, I
I
don't
don't
know.
think Tony Gilroy is going to continue to do Star Wars. It sounds like he has ideas of where he wants to go next and what he wants to do, but I think Disney will explore Andor like options, and I hope they do, just to keep. I like having this flavor of Star Wars around,
Hmm.
so I hope that they find someone else that is interested in doing a Star Wars thing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Skeleton Crew was like wildly successful, but that's kind of another one where there was a lot of talk about Force users. Jod could kind of use the Force, but barely.
I'll be interested to see because like now all of a sudden we're getting all these like parrot analytics reports about the acolyte, and I feel like we haven't heard much about Skeleton Crew. And yeah, like from what we have heard, it sounds like it didn't have great viewership, but I loved it. So I'm like, give me more of them kids.
Don't say that.
What?
But yeah, I get what you're saying. And then Alex also asked, does R5D4 have any story prior to A New Hope? Thanks for all you guys do.
Well, apparently he was in the Clone Wars. They said he was a Clone
Oh
Wars
yeah,
veteran.
that was funny.
We know very little about what happened to him. Most of it's from a certain point of view and his time in the Sandcrawler, so that's not
That's like
really.
right before A New Hope.
Yeah, but no, we don't have any, I think, specific story about his life before that.
I'm sure there's a lot of story there to be told. Maybe he'll get his own comic or something.
I think that I'd be fine if they just keep bringing him up in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's been a fun little journey for him.
Maybe the thing about him being a Clone Wars veteran was something that he made up and people just believed. And he's like, "Oh no. People are going to think that I can do all kinds of stuff and now I got to
He is
do all this stuff."
pretty cowardly
And he's
for
really cowardly. So, yeah, maybe that's a lie. I don't know.
I choose to believe him.
Skippy, yeah.
I
Skippy
mean,
was a Legends thing, right?
it wasn't even canon in Legends, but yeah, it was a Star Wars Tales comic, I think,
Yeah,
which even back then was like not really canon.
right. Well, long live R5D4.
Mm-hmm.
He will live forever in our hearts and on our televisions. But I think that's going to do it for us today. We're going to come back next week and finish the sail barge. our big finale episode.
5 more bags.
But thanks everyone for hanging out and everyone sending in your super chats and our 603rd members. We really appreciate you guys. But we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.